Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our first ever Frazer Consultants and Tribute Insurance Assignments webinar. I am CJ Friedrichs. I'm one of the leads with Tribute Insurance Assignments, and it's a real privilege to be joining you all today. Today, I want to give you a brief overview of what it looks like to enroll in Tribute Pay to utilize Tribute Insurance Assignments, as well as our easy and intuitive 5-minute claim submission process. We will also be joined by my good friend and longtime Frazer family member, Henry Bolding of Bolding Mortuary. He's an amazing funeral director and an equally as amazing business owner. I'm really excited for you guys to meet him today. I want to show you exactly how TIA can transform the way your business handles life insurance assignments. So whether you've been processing yours in-house the old-fashioned way, or if you've been working with another funding company in the past, I have no doubt that I can streamline your processes and make life easier and more efficient for you and your business all around when dealing with insurance assignments. If you have any questions as we go along, please add them to the chat and then I'll answer them at the end of the webinar. So without further delay, I think let's jump right in, and I'm going to go ahead start by just talking about Tribute Pay and show you guys how you can enroll through your Frazer powered website. It's one of these things that, I mention it all the time in conversations with clients that are with Frazer, but there's really no reason not to get signed up and utilize the payment resources. Everything is always a la carte, so you don't have to use anything. It's just good to have the resources available when you might need them. So you can have them in your back pocket. Tribute Pay encompasses 4 different payment resources. So you'll gain access to the credit card processing, where folks can actually log on your website and make a credit card payment. You can also push your own credit card payments through your website, of course. We have our crowdfunding resource. So if the right situation presents itself, you can accept contributions from the community and you'll be getting daily deposits. We have a loans program, as well as my favorite, and of course, one of our most popular resources is Tribute Insurance Assignments. So we'll talk about that. But I just went ahead and shared my screen so you can see here. This is actually from the Frazer Consultant support page, just for your reference, but this is how you will enroll in Tribute Pay. And it's a really easy process. Everything takes place right in the admin panel of your website. You just click your Tribute Pay tab. There's a nice little sub tab that reads Tribute Pay Enrollment. And all we need from you, you see here, this is where you log in. But all we need from you is some basic information regarding the business. Right here, just verify some details. We do need some information about the funeral home ownership as well. Last piece of the puzzle, we need your financial institution information, of course, so we have a way to wire the funds to your account. There are also about 3 to 5 security questions. It's the very last step, just to ensure that you are who you say you are, so that somebody isn't trying to enroll an account, in your name without your knowledge. But once that is completed, it gets sent over to our merchant service provider, who is Vantage Card. We've been with them for about 4 or 5 years now. Really great group, really trustworthy. We've had nothing but success with them. It takes them about 24 hours typically or less to verify your account details, and then they shoot it back to us that it's approved. And then typically one of Frazer's support representatives will be in touch with you just to confirm your approval. So pretty easy there. Once you do complete the process, you're going to gain access to all the resources, and then you can pick and choose what you want to utilize. The whole process takes about 5 minutes. So really, if you have a Frazer powered website and you haven't yet signed up for Tribute Pay, there is no harm in signing up. It's only going to benefit you, your business, and your families long term. So I would definitely take advantage of that. It's built into every Frazer powered website. So once you are enrolled, of course, you'll gain access to TIA, and that's what we refer to Tribute Insurance Assignments as, for short, TIA, or even TIA in some parts. But everything does live right in your admin panel. That's the Frazer way. It's under your Tribute Pay tab here. If you click that tab, by default, it'll just put you on your Statements and Transactions sub-tab. So this is where you'll have historical records of all of your financial activity, and we also separate it here by sub-module or sub-tab. So the Assignment Funding tab is obviously where Tribute Insurance Assignments will live. So I'm going to jump over to that tab, and I'll show you what that looks like. So you'll notice this is where you can submit a new claim. So this is where everything will get started. This is also where you'll have financial records of all of your previously submitted claims. Of course, as you can see by test, we didn't have somebody pass away with the last name of test and first name of test. This is, of course, the test page just to show you what the claim process looks like. But these statuses will always update in real time. You see we have a submitted date, funded date, closed date as well. Closed is when ultimately TIA got paid by the insurance company. So inevitably, when you get that call from the beneficiary and they're asking about their portion of the proceeds, it's really nice that you can actually view the close date here to see if TIA has been getting paid or been paid, because the beneficiary should be getting paid on the same day or around the same day. The insurance company will cut those checks at the same time. But let's jump right into this claim submission process. So before we actually hit the submit new claim button, it's important to know when you utilize Tribute Insurance assignments, you should never have to talk to another insurance company. I know that sounds too good to be true, but TIA handles 100% of the communication with the insurance company. We take care of that all on your behalf. Typically, we're making our first call within 15 minutes of you actually sending over the policy information. And what we're looking for in the first call, we're going to make sure that it is assignable and active, that it is not contestable, and we're going to confirm a beneficiary. So if one of those three details is unable to be verified in that first call, that's when we will be reaching out to you immediately with an update. So they won't let you get very far. So pretty quick about getting on the phones as soon as you send over the policy info. So I'll show you how we can do that. You just go ahead and hit the submit new claim button here. First thing it's going to ask for is a funeral home reference number. This is optional. I would suggest putting your case number, invoice number, or contract number if you're going to utilize that field. The next thing you do is just select your location. And then you select a contact. And you're also going to select a director. So these can be the same parties. If one person is handling everything, go ahead and select them as both of the users there. If you have two different parties that you'd like to keep involved, let's say you have an office manager and the director wants to be included, this is a good way to keep two parties involved with our courtesy email systems. So you do receive 3 automated emails throughout the verification process. You get the first one when you actually send over the policy information. So before you even have the family sign the assignment, TIA will let you know that we received the policy info and will outline an expected time frame for your payout based off our previous experiences with the insurance company. So we give you a nice little heads up right away. And then you get your second email when you actually upload the assignment form. We'll always confirm that we did receive it, and we're going to get it on file with the insurance company as quickly as we can. The last email is our third email. That is our funding confirmation email. That means we initiated a wire transfer to the funeral home for that amount. That will include a claim summary PDF attachment, which is essentially a receipt of our services. So if a family ever needs any extra clarification about who TIA is or what we do, I would always share that claim summary with them. But we will just go ahead and hit begin new claim here once you have these two parties selected. And this is where it's really going to hold your hand. So first thing we're looking for, pretty straightforward, deceased information. All this information that we're looking for is present on a death certificate, so we won't throw a curveball at you. If you don't have everything right away, that's okay. As long as you have the vitals, it's going to allow you to proceed. So we don't need everything, but try to put in everything. I think most cases you'll have everything. Just going to go ahead and put the death date in there. Scroll down, we'll put in our social, of course. Manner of death, that can be pending. You know, if it hasn't been determined yet, that's okay. It really won't inhibit a payout from us unless it is a suicide or a homicide. So in the case of a homicide, we would have to rule out the beneficiary as a suspect. In the case of a suicide, we want to make sure to talk to the insurance company to determine if there was a suicide clause in the contract. You know, most cases there isn't, but there is a little bit of extra diligence done for suicide cases. But outside of that, if it's still pending, we'll be able to get you paid as long as it's a good policy. So I scrolled down here, but you see, you know, spouse, parents, children, pretty straightforward what we're looking for. Deceased address, of course, is important, but I got the vitals in there today. So for the sake of time, let's just continue. We'll move right along to our beneficiaries tab. So this is where you'll add your beneficiary, and you can add one or more. So if you do run into a situation where there's an unknown beneficiary, I would always suggest adding any available spouse or next of kin, have them all sign, Too many signatures is never a bad thing. As long as we got the right signature, we'll be able to get you paid, and we'll let you know who was the confirmed beneficiary throughout the process. So let's go ahead and add our beneficiary. And the same thing will apply here. Try to put in as much information as you can. As long as you have the vitals and the relationship to the deceased, it will allow you to proceed. So I'm just going to say Susan Smith. She is our beneficiary today. Put her birth date in there. And let's say she is the daughter of the deceased. Get her social as well. If we scroll down, you'll notice that you can copy the deceased address if they're living in the same residence, just to save you some time. But then you hit Save Beneficiary. So now we do have our one current beneficiary, who is the daughter. You can click her name. You can update that information at any time. You'll always have access to that. You can also continue to add as many prospective beneficiaries as necessary. So you can just keep plugging them in if you need to. But for this case, let's say Susan was an only child. We might have some policy paperwork indicating her the beneficiary. We are going to move right along. So I'm just going to hit Continue Claim here to move along to our Policies tab. And then this is where you'll add your policy. So you click the Add Policy button. You're going to click the Add Insurance Company. Go ahead and type in the first letter of the insurance company to jump to that portion of the list. Or else you can, of course, scroll here, and you might notice that TIA, we have been working with just about everybody out there. So it is pretty hard to throw us a curveball. If you do encounter one of these oddball insurance companies that are out there, I know they do pop up every now and again. We do have an other option built in here. Okay, so you can initially select other. We do have an additional notes field where you can type in the correct insurance company when our assignment form is generated for you. And all of our forms are automatically generated just to save you some time. You can go ahead and backspace, delete that other field, and then you can type in the correct insurance company prior to printing out the form. We will get them added to our list for the future. We will update all the information in your admin, so you don't have to worry about that. But for this, let's go ahead and let's use a pretty common insurance company. Why don't we jump to MetLife? And you'll notice we do have a few different MetLife options built in here. We have some group policies that we're pretty familiar with. If you do encounter one that is not in our list referring to group policies, that's our first option. So you just want to indicate yes. Please provide the employer name for any of these group policies, just so we know who to contact on your behalf. Pretty straightforward there. But let's say no for this one. We'll keep it easy. Next thing we'll do is just put in our policy number. Policy value is never required. So if you have a face value, that's where you'd want to put it in, and we'll do our best to verify the whole value for the family's sake. If you don't know what it's worth, that's okay. Instead of trying to verify the whole value, we're just going to make sure there's enough to cover your family's bill. So it's just a little bit different process. Is the original policy available? Are there any additional assignments on the policy? Any additional notes for my insurance team? And I tell you what, they really appreciate if you use this field. So anything pertinent, if it's a weird situation, please let us know ahead of time so we know what we're calling. But then you select your beneficiary, you scroll on down to funeral home request, and this is where you'll put your bill amount. So let's say your bill is $6,000. I'm going to plug that in. Is the fee included in this amount? You see, that'll default to no. So what that is assuming is that you want to get paid your $6,000 in full. Our fee, which is 3.95% of your request amount, that will be automatically debited from the remaining balance of the policy. So it's an indirect expense to the family. There's nothing out of pocket. You see here, TIA just adds their fee to your request to get a total assignment amount of your request plus their fee. So we hang on to our fee. You get paid your request amount in full. You should never have to pay a dime to utilize TIA. Now, if you did want to absorb the fee, or this comes up a lot, I'd say about half of my clients prefer to put their fee onto their bill. You can always use this "is the fee included in this amount" option and toggle yes. So that's assuming that you've already accounted for the fee or you're going to absorb the fee. So if you're going to add it to your bill, go ahead and take your bill amount, multiply it by the 0.0395, add that as a cash advance item to your bill. And then if you're already accounting for it in your bill, of course, we're going to say, yes, it is included. Now your request amount is going to be the total assignment amount. So now you'll see $6,000 is the assignment amount. We're going to hang on to our fee out of your request amount, and then you're going to be paid your request amount less the fee. So it's really up to your discretion if you'd like to put the fee on your bill. Honestly, it's about 50-50 with the clients I work with. So whatever's best for you. But once we have that request amount, we have noted the fee, we're going to go ahead and hit save policy. So that is where it gets sent over to my insurance team, and my agents are going to be making that first call within 15 minutes. So if one of those details in their initial call, they're unable to check that checkbox, that's when they'll be calling you right away. I always say it's a good thing if you don't hear from TIA. That means everything looks like it's in pretty good order with the policy. So you'll just want to go ahead and get the assignment form printed and signed and get it over to us. So you'll notice now we do have our one current policy. Once again, just like the beneficiary, you can update that information at any time if you ever need to. Let's say the family adds something to the bill really late in the process, but we haven't yet funded the claim. That's okay. You can go ahead and update the request amount there. My agents get a notification that an assignment amount has been adjusted. We will be calling you to get verbal confirmation that it's okay for us to update the assignment amount on any signed assignment we already have on file from you, just to save the family some hassle. So we'll go ahead and give you a call, get your okay, and then we'll make sure to get it on file with the insurance company for the new and updated amount. We also have a few notaries built into our test system. So if you do have a notary on staff, you can add your notary, and then it'll automatically plug the notary's information into the assignment form. Once again, just to save you a little bit of time. I'm just going to skip that portion today. Let's say Bill Anderson and Test Notary, they're not going to notarize the document. We have a local notary that's going to take care of that. So I'm going to hit continue claim here, and then we're going to move right along to our forms tab. Now, this is where you download your assignment form. So you're just about done. You just click the download all button, and it's going to automatically download the form. Everything that you have provided, so all the information, it's already going to be present on the form. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I'll show you what it looks like. No, you don't have to write anything. There's no extra work on your end. Just go ahead and print out the document. You see, we do have a toll-free number on the top of the form to reach the insurance team directly. If you have any specific questions about the insurance company, about the specific claim, give my team a call. Very friendly. They like to get to know their clients, so don't be shy about reaching out to them if you need to. But go ahead and print out the form. And before we scroll down, you'll notice I did say these fields are all modifiable. So this is where you can update the document prior to printing if you ever need to. Have your beneficiary sign right next to their name. You see, it's up to 4 beneficiaries per form. So if there's ever beyond 4, it'll automatically create a second form for you. If you have a notary on staff, this is where you would notarize for the beneficiary. So the top portion is where the beneficiary is first assigning the policy to the funeral home. On the bottom of the document, you see Adam was the funeral director. We have his name plugged in. This is where the funeral home would sign under authorized signature. Notarize for your director as well if you can. That's where the funeral home is reassigning the policy to Tribute Insurance assignments. Because it is a TIA form and it is not a funeral home form, and the funds are not coming directly to the funeral home from the insurance company, yes, it is okay for you and your team to notarize this document, even if one of your team members has already signed, because technically this is coming from TIA, and that question comes up a lot. If you do not have a notary on staff, don't worry too much. I'll tell you, most of our assignments don't need to be notarized. So it's not a requirement of TIA. It's actually going to be dependent on the insurance company itself. So if you don't know if this specific insurance company is going to require notarization, give my team a call the number on the top of the form. We can provide that information for you while you're with the family. So that way you don't have to, hassle them by going down to the local notary if you don't need to. So give us a call. But once you do have those signatures on there, your work to get paid is just about done. You'll want to scan that back to your computer as a PDF. And then instead of clicking the download option, you'll go ahead and click the upload option. So go ahead and attach your document. You'll get a nice little check mark once you attach the document. You'll get the second courtesy email. You, of course, get the first one when you hit save policy. You get the second one when you upload the form, and then you get the third one when we do initiate the wire transfer. So once we get the form from you, that is all we need from you to get the business paid for. So we fund 95% of these within 24 to 48 hours of us receiving the assignment form. If we expect it to be longer than 48 hours, we're going to indicate that in our courtesy emails right away. So we'll let you know. Any additional claim paperwork that might be required by the insurance company, we are going to settle that up for you and on behalf of the beneficiary behind the scenes. So you will not have to worry about that. All we need is the signed assignment. This is really going to be a one-stop solution for your families. And we're going to do our best to accelerate a payout of their portion as well. So that'll be step 2. So step 1, get us the assignment form. We're going to get the funeral service paid for. Step 2, you'll notice here for MetLife, we have copy of death certificate listed. So that's what we're going to need from you to get your beneficiary paid their portion. So we'll always indicate that here. That information will also be included in our funding confirmation email. It'll also be present in your dashboard under your assignment funding tab. So we list that info in a few different locations. But once you do get a copy of the death certificate, upload it right there. We're going to get it on file with the insurance company the same day. And then we are going to start our daily follow-up. So we do our absolute best to accelerate a payout of the remaining balance just by checking in with the insurance company every day. Typically on average, takes us about 21 days to get your beneficiary paid. I would never tell them 21 days specifically, just because it will vary a little bit depending on the insurance company. But yes, that's the whole process to get your beneficiary paid. So step 1, step 2, it's just that easy. Now, I was gonna check in here, just make sure my pal Henry Bolding is with us. Oh, great, Henry is. So now that we have concluded our claim submission process, I would love to introduce my pal, long-term Frazer family member, Henry Bolding of Bolding Mortuary in York, Pennsylvania. Henry has been with Frazer for over 5 years, and he's been working with DIA for just about 2 years now. So Henry, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. Are you here with us today?
I am, sir. Thank you for inviting me. I do appreciate that tremendously.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope you're having a great morning.
We are. It's a cool day in York, Pennsylvania right now. The temperature is roughly about 70 degrees, so a little bit of a breeze as well. So we're definitely enjoying the cool weather.
Oh, wonderful.
Heat every time.
Yeah, it's getting a little cool here already, Henry. As you can tell, by the Packers gear behind me. We're up in Madison, Wisconsin, of course.
I see. Yes.
Yeah, it's starting to cool down a little bit. No, I really
know the cold is on its way. It's just a matter of time. But we're going to enjoy the cool while we have it.
Absolutely. Yep. I know. I actually make it a point of emphasis to never complain about it ever being cold up here.
No. You have to count your blessings every day.
Absolutely.
One day at a time.
Absolutely. Well, I have just a few questions for you. I don't want to steal up too much of your time. I know how busy you are, and congratulations with all your success in the business over the last few years, by the way. Just got to say one little note before we jump into this. Henry was one of the first people, as soon as COVID hit, he made immediate adjustments to his business. I mean, he's using Zoom calls with family members. He's got everything's live webcasted through Facebook, through his website right now. So I just commend you on your adjustments. I was watching one of your services over the weekend. It just happened to pop up in my newsfeed. It seems like you guys are doing an incredible job there.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So there's one situation that came up last year that I was hoping we could talk about just a little bit. I know it's a pretty sensitive situation. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your experience with Miss Pritchard and with Tribute Insurance assignments?
I can, yeah. I had a situation that occurred with one of my employees, and of course, her husband had passed away. And when he passed away, of course, initially they had insurance. And of course, as time had progressed, they transferred to another insurance policy, I guess, under the assumption that when they did that, they would not lose coverage in any way. They were going to still have coverage being carried over. This was a term policy, and they thought everything was in order. So we, of course, had filed the claim that we normally would through tribute assignments. And as time went on, they had there was an issue that was occurring with the company as far as whether or not they were or were not going to pay. And one thing I found out about tribute insurance is the fact that they said, you know what, we can help you by trying to investigate this a little further for you because we have people that do this all the time. I said, that sounds really nice. So he said, give us some time, let's work with this. So they took the time to work through this process with the family because of the fact that the insurance company was almost literally balking at paying. And what happened as time progressed here, they finally were able to, and it took a little while, but not as long as we expected it to be. They were able to eventually get the claim through and get a payment so the family actually got paid the expenses that we knew that if we had not used tribute assignments, that would not have happened. We always say sometimes we're at the discretion of the insurance company, but I've always found that if you have good people behind you that know what the companies do and do all the technical work that's involved, that you will find that the right expertise will get the results that you're looking for. And yes, my office manager was very delighted just to know that as time went on, even though it took a little longer, she finally, through the due diligence of tribute assignments, got her money. And the funeral home in turn got paid as well. And that goes a long ways. I mean, so often when you think about companies, when companies will say to you, well, we know that you are within this, you may have an incontestability clause. Well, they might say, well, we're not going to pay. That tends to settle it. That's it. But when we talk to tribute assignment, they say, you know what? Send us all the information you have and all the data. Let us examine the data you've given to us ahead of time, and we'll get back to you on this. So we said, okay, that's fine. So we waited, and it only took tribute assignment probably say a couple days, 2 days, 3 days at the maximum, to evaluate all the paperwork that was there and to say, you know what, I think we have something here that is not being honored. We are going to ask you to do this and file the claim. Have the assignment signed like it should be signed as well. And we'll work from there and we will keep you abreast of what's happening. And I can honestly say that probably every 3 days to a week at the maximum, we receive a call from tribute assignments letting us know right away that yes, this is what's happening with what we're doing right now on this particular policy. We're making some progress. They're asking for more paperwork from you as well and from your office manager, which they did. Companies always ask for more follow-up as well. So we in turn gave them what they were looking for via fax or via email as well. And then when they received that, they were like, okay, everything's in order. And as time went on, we eventually got a confirmation from tribute assignments saying that guess what? Things have gone through and we have a payment for you. And that just truly delighted my office manager, by the way, because she had lost her husband. So this was a very traumatic experience for her anyway. And she was just thinking about the fact that how do I survive knowing that we have something here that we did everything in good faith. Why is it not being honored? The tribute assignment took the time to say, you know what, there are some things in here, technicalities that should really be resolved. And as they did what they had to do, we received our funding and we are thankful for that. And I can honestly tell people right away, like you said before, that we're happy we went with them. I mean, they're a good company to deal with. They make the process so easy when it comes to getting your funding. I found as a funeral director in particular that when it comes to insurance companies, which or should I standard mode of payment is only through insurance, a lot of times it takes a while, as you mentioned already a few minutes ago, sometimes it may take 21 days when it comes to the beneficiary. However, with funeral directors, we know that we have employees that pay right away. We have other expenses when it comes to buying merchandise like caskets, etc. We really can use our funding almost immediately. So to say that we get paid within 24 to 48 hours is true, a very true statement. And we have found that sometimes on the same day, probably within a few hours after filing the form, we got funded. So to me, CJ, that goes a long ways. I think the technical expertise is important. As you mentioned before about us streaming, et cetera, we like to be on the cutting edge of things. We want to make sure that we're always one step ahead of the competition. So that being said, we've gotten nothing but compliments on our website, the design of it, nothing but compliments on our funding when it comes to families getting their money as well. And the ease of a family not having to file so much paperwork with the insurance company goes a long ways. They like it that we can file everything for them. As you mentioned before on the back end as well, they get their money without sending all those claimant forms back and forth to the mail. That takes time. And when you do that, families have to wait. We have seniors, et cetera, that are waiting for that money to really pay their bills. They like it when they know that all they have to do is sign one form or two at the maximum, send it away, give it to the funeral director. He in turn takes care of it from there. And of course, Tribute Assignments takes care of it from there. All they're doing is waiting for the funding. So that saves a lot of confusion for them. And I say to you that our hats off. Like I said, I want to also just add, if I can, to you, sir, without talking too long. I can be, I can be a little long-winded at times. But I
Yeah.
also want to say it's kind of nice that you can kind of look online and see all your accounts with tribute assignments. You can see a summary of all the accounts, when they were paid, and how much was paid, et cetera. So it makes it easy when you're doing your bookkeeping, et cetera, to print out those forms and do a summation. So that simplicity to me goes a long ways. And my hat's off. Whenever I have to call CJ, if he doesn't call me back that same day, he'll call back the following day. Of course, once in a while he goes on vacation, which is important. So I have to do that as well. But it's just good to know that the follow-up is there. And they're a great company, reputable indeed. And I have been pleased with it. Our office manager said she loves them. My hat's off to him right away, saying good company to deal with, and funeral directors in particular, and those that want to get immediate funding, you'll like what you get. You'll like it a lot.
Thank you, Henry. My hat's off to you too. Like I said, I don't know if anybody adjusted as quickly as you did. Actually, the whole industry in general, right? I mean, it didn't stop for funeral directors. I think a lot of other industries did kind of pause. Funeral directors just figured it out on the go, on the fly. So yeah, my hat's off to you as well. And
as well, sir.
Love seeing your continued business success and growth. And thank you for sharing that story. People don't realize how much goes into a contestable claim like that. And this was a really weird situation because the policy had actually been converted to another policy kind of under the table. It was a really weird play by the insurance company. And that's the kind of thing that we're here for. I mean, gosh, I can only imagine from your perspective, if you had to go through that on your own, it would have just been a lot, because it was a lot of calling on our behalf. We follow up weekly with all the medical parties and the insurance examiner that are involved with these contestability cases. And I think we're the only funding company in the entire country that'll even approach these cases. And this was a blessing. I remember when Henry called me. I don't think I'll ever forget that call, Henry. You called me, just it says we got funded. I just need your confirmation. Did we get funded? And I said, yeah, we did. He said, praise the Lord. It was a great experience, and it was challenging. But yeah, I'm so thankful we were able to get that settled up for you. And that's the kind of work that our team does, that people don't get to see really behind the scenes. So I really appreciate you sharing that story and all the extra input about TIA as well. Just real briefly, so before you were working with TIA, you were working with another funding company. We don't need to say any names out there. I know we got
I made a good one as well. No names. I've already had on my past.
But have you seen just better success or better processes compared to your previous company?
No question about that. I found it so much better indeed. I have found that in particular, what happens is that there's less paperwork. One thing about it, everything is just so automated and computerized. I like that a lot.
And family members, you have to realize from their perspective, they really don't know what is involved with settling these claims as much as a funeral director does. So there's a lot of anxiety from the family members' end. And for them being only having to sign that one document, that's just a lot of stress alleviated from their end, So it's always good to kind of step back and think about it from a family member's perspective.
It is. And like I said, the other company that we dealt with, there was more paperwork, more things being sent back and forth through fax. Now everything, which is on a computer like it is, it goes a long way. So it makes it just so much simpler. To me, that just says a lot. Time is of the essence when it comes to dealing with families. We want to make sure they get what they want. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve them. They're not here to serve us. And we want to make sure at all times that they get what they're looking for. And like you said before, technology is changing. Some of the old ways that things have been done before can be antiquated. You don't realize there are new things that are out there that are available. And I think the tribute assignment tells you that. Particularly, you can kind of see that right away. They have a lot of new technologies out there that will get the families where they need to be. And I think, as you mentioned about the case before, it was funny because so often we as individuals don't look at all the small print and areas that we're reading when it comes to technical forms. And I have found that sometimes it just takes one person to say, you know what, something just doesn't seem right here. that's not correct. Let me call somebody else for advice. And what I did was, when I called you guys, tribute assignments, said, you know what, we have folks that deal with this, that have been insurance adjusters, et cetera, that are expertise in this particular field. So they know what's going on. They've done this for many, many years. So they are seasoned in what they do. I said, you know what, then we'll ask you guys to help us to find out what's going on here and what can be done. And behind the scenes, right away, you jumped on it. You didn't hesitate. And you don't have too many companies that are out there that will say to you, well, if a policy, for example, is contestable, uh, most of them will say, like my old company, well, we can't help you with that. Tribute Assignment said right away, it may be a contestable policy, but we take those as well. Let us look them over and see what can happen out. And it's amazing, even with those types of policies, we've gotten paid on some of those as well. And they were contestable. Normally, we would have dropped them and let them go and let the family know right away that unfortunately they'll probably get their premiums back. But in this case, it was a question of, well, no, they'll get all their money because they were contestable. But as CJ said, as they look over and reviewed the policy by the people that are behind the scenes, they found that, hey, yes, it was contestable, but they should get all their money and they should pay out the full amount of the policy. And that has happened in cases too, which to me was like, great. No other company did that before.
Yeah. We're very privileged. Our insurance agents, everybody that's calling on your behalf, they've all had experiences with insurance companies. So almost all of our agents, I believe, if not all, actually worked for insurance companies previously. Mm-hmm. So that really gives us a leg up. Our agents, before they were working with us, they were working with the insurance company, and they were taught to tell, people like us, or mislead them, kind of steer them the wrong direction. Whereas my agents know what path to take, and they have a lot of experiences with these specific insurance companies, and that makes a big difference. It really does.
It does. It really does.
Well, Henry, thank you again so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's always great. It is great. To all those that are looking to get involved with Frazer Consultants and Tribute Insurance Assignments, definitely, it's a definite go.
Yeah, my phone's always open too. I say that all the time, but I really mean it. And you know that too. If I'm ever unavailable, leave me a voicemail. I'm going to give you a call back as soon as I possibly can. I'll be here for you.
I appreciate it tremendously. Thank you very much for your services.
Absolutely. Well, great. It looks like we did have one question come in. So yeah, I'd love to answer your question here, Ron. So you had asked, I did mention that there's a 50-50 split on funeral homes putting the fee as a cash advance. So the main reason I see that, and Henry, maybe you can actually add a little bit to this. Do you typically add your processing fee to your funeral bill as a cash advance item, or do you leave yours off?
We put it on as a cash advance item.
You do? Exactly. Yeah. And why do you do that?
Well, we want to make sure that when it comes to transparency, that they can see everything they're being charged for. It's not a question about where did this fee come from, or we thought we were getting a certain amount of money and we didn't get that. Families can see that right up front. They know what's happening. We also let them know that we're also expediting the processing of their insurance. So they know that with this being done the way we're doing it, it saves them some time. They may save them a week or two in getting their funding because we're doing it this way. And they can see that. So to me, the processing fee goes a long ways. Put it on the bill, let them see right away in the cash advance. They know right away what they're being charged for, and they know why you're doing it. We let them know why we're doing it. We're trying to make it simpler for them so they get paid faster.
Yep. And that's what I hear a lot. It just provides some extra clarity for the family. It's something that's part of the funeral expense, even though the funeral home isn't directly charging them. It is part of the funeral expense.
Yes,
that's what insurance assignments is charging. And the folks that actually leave it off their bill, most cases it's just because they, whether their systems or operations, they're not really successful tracking those cash advance items, or they don't want it to inhibit their accounting or bookkeeping in some way. So, I tend to lean towards putting it on your bill personally, but for folks that don't want to, I understand that too. And then in those cases, for those partners, I always recommend sharing our claim summary when all is said and done. So share TIA's receipt, because that will also provide some sort of clarity.
It does. And most families like simplicity. You will find that families say, if you can make it easier for us, that goes a long way. That's amazing how many families we deal with right now that will say to us, we were told that you can process everything for us. And if you can, we would appreciate that. It makes it just so much easier for us to work with. I'm like, We can. We do this all the time. So we'll do it the way we normally do it, and we truly believe it'll help ease the burden on your shoulders right now because we know you've lost somebody that you love. Right now, we're trying to take care of things for you.
Yeah, and that actually really leads into our next question, which was from Kitty Dugan at Dugan. She asked, would you recommend explaining the fee? And I always encourage our client to put a little note on your GPL or payment terms if you can that indicates that there will be a fee charge for the insurance assignments. So that way the family can read about the fee before they make up their mind that they're going to pay by life insurance. And you don't directly have to have that conversation with them in every case. But, if they do ask you about it, it really comes down to the fact that we have insurance experts that are going to settle up all the additional claim paperwork on your behalf. They're going to facilitate a faster payout because they do have daily follow-up with the insurance company just to help expedite that payment. And it's just going to be one less burden, one less anxiety, one less stress on the family member, on the beneficiary while they're in this grieving process. So experts are going to take care of it behind the scene. Yeah. And Henry, how do you communicate the fee personally?
Normally, once we present to the family what we call our itemized funeral statement, and we do that when we're sitting at our conference room table as well, we present that to them so they can see the total cost for everything. It's already pretty much itemized out for them, and they'll see the fee that's involved in there as well. We'll let them know. We'll let them know that right now this is only how we process things when it comes to insurances. We let them know right away that we want to make sure that uh, things is expedited faster for them. And we also want to make sure at the same time that they get their money that they should. And to them, those things go a long ways. And I think that, like I said before, when you find that when it comes to insurance companies, a lot of times in the claimant forms, etc., you get a lot of things that are being sent back and forth via mail. And we found that, for example, when we're doing things with tribute assignments, not only is it the fact that we're getting paid and things are being processed for the family, but while those things are being processed for the family, families are still just getting payment forms like a week or two later on. They're just coming in the mail. So technically, that's delaying them getting their money. And that goes a long ways. And some of these claimants forms come one or two at a time. It kind of depends on the insurance company, which is really kind of, I think, really a delay for the families in getting their funding. Because once they get their claimant form, they have to mail it back to the company. That takes more time. That's another week that's been lost each time. But when you think about tribute assignments, you're following all that for them. You're taking care of all that. You're saying, don't send these forms back at all. We'll follow all that paperwork for you. That makes the process so much easier for them.
Yeah, you're right too about the claim form. So we have a record of claim forms. So we don't have to wait for the insurance company to mail the forms to us. We pull up the form from our database, we fill it out, we get it on file with them, a lot of times the same day that we get the assignment form from you. So it's just, there's a big gap. There's 2 weeks, it could make a difference, 2-3 weeks even in some of these cases. And Ron, I saw you asked about some successful verbiage for the GPL or payment terms. I will send you a few examples personally. I have a few of my clients' examples that I have the permission to share. I will share those with you. So I'll give you some good examples. It's really not, I know it seems like an initial obstacle because you haven't ever talked about an insurance assignment processing fee with your families, but I think you'll be surprised. Most families understand why there is a fee. They just appreciate the expedited process and the ease of the process as well. Well, wonderful. I hate to keep you guys too much longer. I know how busy it is in the life of a funeral director. So I think we should sum it up today. I really appreciate everyone joining us, especially you, of course, Henry. Thank you so much. Such a good friend. I always appreciate everything you do for us here. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly if any other questions come up for anybody who is participating. You can call me on my office line here at 608-318-4238. That's 608-318-4238. You can always reach me via email, cj@tributeassignments.com. Please don't be shy. I'm here for you and for your families. I'm here to help. And also for any of you that might be on the fence, I do want to offer you guys a special offer just for participating today to help ease a potential transition and for you to see what this process looks like. So if you want to try and send over a claim to TIA, give us a shot. We will honor your first claim up to $25,000 worth of funding for our minimum fee, which is $125. So that would be, you know, a 0.5% processing fee on your first claim. So please feel free to take advantage of that. If you guys do want to check it out, I'll absolutely honor that, you know, from now until whenever you guys are comfortable. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope everybody has a lovely morning.
Yes.
You know, appreciate all you do for your communities and for the world. We really appreciate funeral directors. Thanks so much, guys.